Well, welcome to week 3, fantasy football. Here we are, Mike. We have teams that are 2-0 like you, and teams that are 1-1 like me, and others who are 0-2 like Pastor Rick and Mike and the boys. But the good news is, even if you're 0-2, you're only one game out of being in the playoffs. So don't panic, don't worry. You can still manage your team into the playoffs. Do not hit the panic button just yet. But Mike, looking back to last week, we had some very interesting matchups. What are your thoughts about some of those?
Well, the one that sticks out is obviously the one you were in. Coming in on Monday, you assumed that you had the loss, but due to some stat adjustments, you were able to eke out the win. So I would say, well done.
Yeah, and I had nothing to do with the stat adjustments. The commissioners don't do anything with that. But Mike's right. I walked out of Monday night thinking I had a loss by about 0.3 of a point. And then Monday or Tuesday morning, no change. Wednesday morning, no change. But today, I went in to look at my lineup and prepare for this video. I saw that there was a stat adjustment to one of Bob's teammates, Larry Fitzgerald. And so because they dinged him down 1.5 points, I actually got a victory. So I called Bob and I wanted to let him know that this was something that had happened, and I wondered if he had seen it, and he hadn't. And I said, do you want to leave any comment? And his comment was no comment. So sorry, Bob. I tell you, I don't feel good about that win. I mean, I'll take it, obviously, but I don't feel good about it. And I know you have a great team, probably the best 0-2 team in our league for sure. Anything else about last week, Mike, that sticks out?
No, but I would like to say to Bob, I know Ray hated to win that way, but I will tell you, when I went up in his office, the dance he was doing was pretty amazing. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with the victory or not, but I just thought I'd let you know.
It was the Indian war dance. Actually, that was meant for this week. And speaking of this week, we have some matchups that are coming up. Mike, I know you're playing the boys, the team that I really lost to last week. You're 2-0 and they're 0-2. And so I took a look at that matchup and I said, you guys have a very equal team. Right now Bob is projected to be up a bit, but we know projections don't really mean much. If you're like me, sometimes you think I'm going to have so many points. This is looking like it's going to be a great week for certain players. And you're looking at your stat tracker and it's not moving, it hasn't moved in a half hour, so you start refreshing the screen to make sure it's not broken. And it's just, 3 of your players got pulled out of the game. If you have Bill Belichick as one of your coaches for any of your running backs, you know how that feels. If players get injured or teams just stall or they don't do well, and you don't come anywhere near the projected amount of points that you thought, it can be frustrating. But that's all it is a projection, and so all you can do is look at matchups and see where you might do best that week. So, Mike, you had a difficult win too. I remember coming into Monday night, Mike was up by about 10 points or so, 11 points to Tony's chance. Tony had Zach Miller going, and it looked like, hey, this could be a tough victory. Mike wasn't feeling good about his chances.
Not at all.
And ended up, though, with a 3.5 point victory or so, 3-point victory. Zach Miller always seems to disappoint. He just never lives up to his potential. Tough game, of course, but that's a tough loss for Tony, and put Mike at 2-0. And then some of the other games were pretty much blowouts. It wasn't too many close games, other than Ken, the Silver Bullets, overcame a significant deficit on Monday night. Had 3 players going, and ended up with a really nice victory. So Ken, 2-0. You and Mike, I think, are the only teams might be 2-0.
Well done.
So maybe the Holy Janine Garofalo.
Oh yeah, Holy Garofalo.
Which my brother runs.
Yes.
They're 2-0 as well. So Rob and Seth are doing a great job with that team. Well, Mike, we like to do this the segment called "What Were You Thinking?" What do you got this week?
My "What Were You Thinking" goes to my favorite pastor, Rick Ives, who runs the Go Browns. And having Le'Veon Bell in your lineup when he's still suspended is obviously one of the more interesting moves of the week. And that is my "What Were You Thinking?"
Yeah, now what I don't get is how can a team called Go Browns start Le'Veon Bell, though the Steelers themselves don't start Le'Veon Bell? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So going forward, I really want to encourage everyone, look at your lineups. You know, people like Alshon Jeffrey, people like Le'Veon Bell, people like Doug Martin. You know, these guys, either they're not playing or they're really risky to play this week, not just because of matchup, but because of injuries. So take a look at your lineups, make sure you start them tonight, do the league, pick them before tonight, and you know, engage with the league in that sense. All right, Mike, last thing we want to do is look at this week's matchups. I wanted you to talk about the matchup I have with Michael's Tiger team, and then also Tony's chance going against the Holy Garoppolo. So what are your thoughts about some of those teams?
Well, with your matchup with Michael, you're favored pretty for a projection wise. You're favored by like 12, I think, and for projections, that's a pretty fair number. I think for Michael, the key is going to be can Matt Ryan really have a big game, and can AJ Green bounce back after last week's kind of disappointment? So I think those are huge things. I think you have New England's defense tonight against Houston, and I think that might be a key as well. But I'm going to lean towards you pulling this one out and a monkey punch victory 2 in a row. For the Holy Garoppolos and Tony's chance, again, this should be a good one. I think for Holy Garoppolo, Andrew Luck. Can Andrew Luck come through? Will be a huge thing against San Diego's defense. And will the Dolphins' defense be any good against Cleveland? I think that's another. Cleveland's got a rookie quarterback starting. I think there's a chance for a lot of points to be had there. On Tony's chance, you have Gronkowski back this week, it looks like, but you got a rookie quarterback throwing to him. Although that big lug will probably catch everything thrown his way anyways. And then I think Ben is your quarterback. Will he have a big game against Philly? Will probably have a big impact on the game. I'm leaning towards Tony's chance, sneaking this one out barely.
Yeah, I have myself winning this week, but I have myself winning every week except for last week. I did pick myself to lose last week and I won. Just goes to show, if I pick you to win, you're in good shape. I mean, you're in bad shape. I picked, I think I picked myself and the Holy Garoppolos tonight.
It's a family thing.
It is, but I think Andrew Luck is he just hasn't hit stride yet. It's going to be a challenge for him. But also Gronkowski is still dinged up. I'm not even sure if he's going to start. I'm just not sure. And if that's the case, I just don't see any way that Tony's team will overcome that. But who am I? Again, if I pick you to lose, you're in good shape. Well, we have 3 other matchups. We have Who Dey Nation, run by John, who's going against Tim Dietrich, Michelle and Tim's, or Team Dietrich, Michelle and Tim's team. And you look at the matchups, obviously the quarterback matchup goes to John. He's got Cam Newton at home. Even though they're playing the Vikings, he's still pretty strong. But the wide receiver matchups, I'm going to give to Michelle's team. They got, they're not playing Team Dietrich, they're playing the Silver Bullets. Disregard everything I said about Tim and Michelle. Ken, this is your team, the Silver Bullets. Wilson's struggling, but you have a great core of receivers. And I think the game's really going to be won with the running backs.